The Oregon State Beavers were 2-5 last season, and we are preparing for year 4. Yes, year 4 of the Jonathan Smith era. Last year was weird. So he gets a contract extension, a little bit of a pay raise after the 2019 season. They went 5-7, 4-5 in conference play. In terms of the standings, that was tied for second. A lot of excitement. Okay, the Beavs, here we go. And then, they follow it up with going 2-5. That's not as exciting. But within that 2-5, literally sandwiched in the middle of it, they went and beat Oregon. Yeah, you beat Oregon. I don't know, man. Hard to pick this thing apart. So as we look at the team for spring practice, the loss of Jamar Jefferson, top running back, is incredibly notable. And just trying to figure out how you're going to base this offense, especially with the quarterback position. Is it going to be Tristan Gebbia? Is it going to be Chance Nolan? Trying to decipher who wins that job and what it means for the offense as they continue to reload on that side of the ball. Now, not all returning production is encouraging. Example 469, Oregon State's defense that ranked near the bottom of the Pac-12 in rushing and total defense has a bunch of those players back. So, okay, we'll see. Got to be better at stopping the. I know that we say, we're evolving in terms of like run defense and what it means, but I don't feel great reviewing what we have from the 7-game sample size defensively from Oregon State. Can that group take a step forward? How are we feeling about Oregon State, a team that handed us a lot of reasons to be concerned, but boy, they got that win. They got that win against Oregon.
Feel great.
Great.
Okay, maybe not great. I feel good. Like, this is one of those teams that brings back a boatload of experience on both sides of the ball. I think Jonathan Smith is a pretty good coach, pretty good, guy putting up points and a pretty good developer of players. As far as QB, Chip, like you mentioned, Tristan Gebbia, he had surgery on his hamstring, so he might not even be back for spring. So if there's going to be a true quarterback competition there, we'll have to see if Nolan can make the most use of his reps there that he's going to get in spring. Because the last time, according to beaverblitz.com, they were saying Jonathan Smith kind of suggested his quarterback may not return to the field in time to partake in spring practices.
Yikes.
Offensive line's all back. You lose Jefferson, but okay. I think running backs matter some, but not as much as other positions, I guess. I think losing Rashad is a fairly big deal. Like, he's an impact defender on a defense that, lacks athleticism and size as far as a combination. So I want to see how they replace him, but I think this team's moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't disagree with most of it. I think offensively they're going to be fine. I love Jamar Jefferson. I think that he's an excellent sleeper in your fantasy leagues this fall because he's not going to be highly drafted. But I think that if he ends up on the right offense, he's going to be a useful fantasy player. I think offensively they should be okay. Defensively, I think Rashad is a huge loss because you mentioned, Chip, a lot of the production is back, but Rashad was one of the best player on that defense, so he's gone. So the production's mostly back, but that's still a huge thing you have to fix. But I don't think this team was as bad as the results showed. Like, I think defensively, the raw numbers look terrible, but when you start looking at more of the advanced metrics, it's like they tend to be more in that slightly below average kind of category than awful. So I think that it wouldn't be surprising to see a step forward from that unit this season, not to be in like an elite defense, but to at least being an average to above average unit, which could help. So I don't think last year was a true reflection of where this program is, nor do I think the year before was an accurate reflection at that point. So I think going into this 2021 season, we're probably going to see the Beavers settling in somewhere between that, where they're not competing for the Pac-12 North, but they are fighting they're fighting for a bowl spot, and I think they're kind of 50-50 to get one, which compared to recent seasons at Oregon State, saying you're 50-50 to get 6 wins this year, I think you'd take that 2 or 3 years ago for sure.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that assessment. I mean, the numbers get skewed when you give up 375 rushing yards to Arizona State. When you're talking about the raw numbers, those will bounce up your total a little bit. They were better in 2019 when they only gave up 4.3 yards per carry, 21 rushing touchdowns against 12 games. they got to get better. I mean, that's clear. But I think this is one of those things where you kind of look at it, you try to build some momentum off the win against Oregon. At least it shows the team is still fighting, like they're still they're still giving good effort during a crazy season when a lot of teams packed it in, and it could have been the opposite direction. You kind of hold out those 2 wins and kind of, especially one against your rival, and you try to hold out for it as a sign for optimism. But, a lot of returning starters. I like Jonathan Smith. I think this team will be better, but kind of like you're saying, just a fight for a bowl spot, which is a good spot to be in considering how bad they were just a few years ago.